Discovered, incredible 9 languages spoken by a young girl, leaving a millionaire toughly touched. In the small town of Maplewood, whispers of Sofia flooded through the streets like wildfire. Did you hear? That little girl can speak 9 languages. The neighbors couldn't help but share the awe they felt for the bright-eyed 10-year-old, who seemed as unstoppable as a tidal wave in a hurricane. Her parents, immigrants who had fled a war-torn homeland, had always taught her the beauty of hard work and community support. Despite their struggles, they were a beacon of resilience. As the prestigious speech competition loomed closer, people rallied around Sofia, sharing stories of their own hardships, how they had fought back against life's challenges. Yet, her heart was heavy with doubt. A few townsfolk still raised their eyebrows, questioning if a girl like her, with her background, could really shine. The thought stung, and she swallowed her anxiety. But the overwhelming encouragement from kind neighbors warmed her spirit. Days blurred into one another under the weight of anticipation. Mr. Thompson, the businessman sponsoring the event, initially treated Sofia as just another underprivileged child. He regarded her with skepticism after hearing rumors about the speech's potential. Could she really wow the crowd? But little did he know, behind the shyness lay a spark. Sofia was determined to light that spark into a fiery passion that could not be ignored. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the competition arrived. The air crackled with tension. Sofia stood behind the curtain, her heart pounding like drums in a marching band. She could hear the murmurs, the cheer, and the doubt rising from the crowd. It was impossible to ignore that knot of fear swirling in her stomach. Just moments before stepping onto that stage, Sofia took a deep breath and closed her eyes, feeling her mother's warm embrace and her father's proud smile guiding her forward. Then, she stepped into the unforgiving spotlight. The audience was a mix of hopeful faces and skeptical gazes. Sofia took a moment to drink in the scene, feeling the weight of expectation pressing down. But just as she started to speak, the atmosphere shifted. A loud ruckus broke out across the room, voices rising in whispers, a ripple of doubt overshadowing her moment. Sofia felt her knees shake, but there was no turning back now. This was her chance. She looked up, locking eyes with Mr. Thompson. In that moment, both faced a powerful realization, a moment not just about competition, but about understanding, resilience, and respect. Could this young girl, despite her circumstances, strum the chords of transformation in all of them? An unexpected confrontation loomed, not just with the crowd but within their hearts. What would happen next? Would Mr. Thompson recognize her spirit and change his opinions? Would the bonds of a community flourish in adversity? The room held its breath, and so did Sofia, standing on the edge of something greater than herself. Sofia took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of her family's love envelop her like a soft blanket. She could almost hear her mother's voice whispering encouragement, urging her to be brave. The ruckus in the crowd faded momentarily, leaving her in a bubble focused solely on her words and the significance they carried. "Good evening everyone," she began, her voice trembling slightly yet filled with determination. The crowd quieted, curiosity piqued by the girl who had captured so many hearts. Emboldened, Sofia continued. "My name is Sofia, and tonight I want to share with you not just words, but the story of my family, a story of hope and resilience in the face of adversity." As she spoke, the words flowed out like water from a clear spring. She weaved tales of her parents, their sacrifices, and the strength they passed down to her. She spoke about her homeland, the richness of its culture, and how language became a bridge that connected her to different worlds. The audience leaned in, captivated, as she shifted effortlessly between languages, each transition evoking nods and gasps of surprise. A flicker of understanding passed over Mr. Thompson's face. The skepticism that once clouded his eyes began to dissipate, replaced by a glimmer of respect. He hadn't anticipated this level of depth and passion from a girl deemed just another underprivileged child. In that moment, he felt a pang of realization. Sofia was not simply a participant, she was a testament to resilience and grit. The murmurs in the audience transformed, as if some invisible thread tied them together in shared emotion. Parents exchanged glances, touched by their own stories reflected in Sofia's performance. Kids whispered to each other, nodding in admiration, feeling inspired. The weight of doubt that had initially filled the room lightened, ushering in a wave of camaraderie. As Sofia wrapped up her speech, her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She concluded with a powerful message: no matter where we come from, our voices matter. Together, we can break down walls, bridge gaps, and create a tapestry of beautiful stories. The silence that followed her words was profound, hanging in the air like a fresh promise. Finally, the audience erupted into applause, spontaneous and loud, echoing across the room. Sofia's eyes sparkled with tears of joy as she took a step back, feeling the rush of triumph wash over her. In that moment, she had not just spoken, she had connected, igniting something deep within every single person present. But as the cheers began to fade, Sofia spotted Mr. Thompson rising from his seat. His expression was one of pure intent, and she held her breath. What would he say? Would he acknowledge her, perhaps even make a promise to support all children in their struggles, not just from his perspective, but from a place of understanding and empathy? Sofia stood in that moment, heart racing, as the world around her seemed to pause. Would this be the transformative moment both she and her community had been waiting for? The anticipation hung heavily in the air, and all eyes were on Mr. Thompson, waiting for his verdict. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat, the audience collectively leaning in closer, eager for his response. The rustling of fabric and the quiet whispers faded again, replaced by an electric tension. Sofia's heart pounded loudly in her chest. Was this it? Would he finally see her? Thank you, Sofia, he began, his voice steady but soft. Your words moved me, more than I expected. A ripple of surprise swept through the crowd. It was clear they too hadn't anticipated praise from someone like Mr. Thompson. You've shown us something we often overlook, he continued, his gaze sweeping across the room. True strength comes from within, and you embody that strength beautifully. I've had my doubts about what we can accomplish for our community. He paused, glancing at the audience, gauging their reactions before diving deeper. But tonight, you've ignited a spark in me, and I believe we can do more. Much more. Sofia felt her breath hitch. This was the moment they had all been waiting for, but more than that, it was a moment of possibility. She could see her friends and families nodding, faces brightening with hope. Standing taller, Mr. Thompson continued. I commit tonight to researching and implementing new programs that will ensure every child, regardless of their background, has the access and resources they need to succeed. Applause erupted once more, louder than before. Sofia felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her. Her voice had indeed resonated. In the cacophony of clapping and cheering, she caught the eye of her mother in the crowd. Her face was radiant, filled with pride. That look fueled Sofia's own spirit, giving her the encouragement to step forward once more. Thank you, Mr. Thompson, she said, her voice steady, but I am just one voice. It's our collective stories that will make a difference. The audience fell silent, hanging on to her words. Let us create platforms that allow every child's voice to be heard, stories from every neighborhood, every culture. We must all stand together. If we want to build a better future, we need to listen to one another. Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression now reflecting determination mixed with newfound respect. Absolutely, Sofia. It's time we amplify those voices, he said, offering her a sincere smile. As applause erupted again, Sofia felt the joy and relief of the crowd wash over her. Change was near, and it felt real. But amidst her celebration, a question lingered in the back of her mind. Would Mr. Thompson follow through? Could they really bridge the gap between their different worlds and create lasting change? The evening moved on with laughter and conversation, but as Sofia stepped down from the stage, a sense of urgency pressed against her heart. She had spoken for others, but now how could she ensure their stories would be told too? The room was ablaze with excitement, but her mind raced with the next steps, seeking clarity in the whirlwind of change they had sparked. Just then, she noticed a small girl in the back, anxiously biting her lip, her eyes wide and hopeful. Something stirred in Sofia. She took a deep breath, moved toward her, and before she could second-guess herself, she kneeled down beside her. "Hi there," Sofia said softly, "what is your name?" As the girl spoke, a sudden realization hit Sofia. The journey had truly just begun, and it would take every voice starting with this little girl to shape the future they all dreamed of. What was to come next would challenge them in ways they hadn't anticipated, and Sofia was determined to keep the momentum going. Would she be able to channel this new energy into tangible action? Sofia knelt beside the little girl, her heart swelling with compassion. The child's name was Maria, and as she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. She seemed so small, wrapped in a faded coat that was too big for her. But her eyes were bright, full of dreams that mirrored Sofia's own from years ago. I want to be a writer," Maria confessed, fidgeting with her fingers. "But no one listens to me." The word struck Sofia like cold water. Here was this child, so full of hope, struggling to be seen in a world that often ignored her. With a gentle smile, Sofia nodded. "I understand, Maria. But your stories matter. They deserve to be told." Maria's eyes widened, as if Sofia had handed her a key to a door she never knew existed. "Really? You think so?" "I know so," Sofia replied, feeling a warmth blossom in her chest. "Let us find a way for you and others to share your stories. I promise." Just then, Mr. Thompson approached. His presence was magnetic, and the crowd parted for him as he joined them. Clapping a hand on Sofia's shoulder, he said, "You've got the right spirit, Sofia. We need initiatives that empower the youth like Maria here. Let us make a plan." Excitement bubbled within Sofia. This was the moment what they had been working toward. Can we create a forum for kids to share their stories? Workshops, maybe. They can inspire others and foster community. Mr. Thompson nodded, his enthusiasm growing. "Absolutely. We've got the resources. I'll talk to the council about funding initiatives like this." Sofia felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her. The dream was no longer just hers. It was a collective vision, one that could reach far beyond the walls of this gathering. As the two talked, Maria watched closely. The awe on her face encouraged Sofia. She saw the spark in the girl's eyes, the power of hope ignited by possibility. They stood on the brink of something transformative. Days passed, and the excitement in the community grew. Tables were turned into planning stations, meetings were held in living rooms, and coffee shops buzzed with ideas. Posters went up, advertising the first storytelling workshop, calling for participants from every corner of their diverse community. Sofia's thoughts often drifted to Maria. She imagined her whispering stories to others, confidence growing with every shared word. Each time they met, Maria blossomed a little more. It tore at Sofia's heart to think of how many voices were still silent. The urgency to include everyone excited her but pressed heavily upon her. Then one afternoon, just after a particularly inspiring meeting, Sofia received a message. It was from Mr. Thompson. "We need to talk urgently. Something big has come up, and I want your input." Her heart raced. Doubts began to creep in. What could it be? Had something changed? Was all of this hope teetering on the edge of a cliff? Grabbing her phone, she texted him back. When and where? As she tapped her foot anxiously, she couldn't shake the feeling that their efforts were on the verge of something monumental, or devastating. The following day, Mr. Thompson leaned in closer as they sat in his office, his expression serious. Sofia, we face unexpected challenges, and I need your voice now, more than ever. Sofia held her breath. A wave of fear washed over her. Was she ready for this? Could she stand tall like she had before? The journey ahead loomed large, but Sofia dug deep within herself, recalling the faces searching for change. Fear gripped her heart, but resolve flickered in the depths. Could she face whatever storm was brewing? This moment could change everything. Would she find the courage to lead once again? Sofia felt a lump form in her throat as she looked at Mr. Thompson. His expression was serious, and his words hung heavy in the air. She took a deep breath and nodded, trying to chase away the lingering doubts. What challenges are we facing? Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his hands clasped. There's been pushback from some community members. They think a storytelling workshop is frivolous, that we should focus on more urgent issues. I need you to help me turn this around. We need passion, we need voices like yours to advocate for this. Sofia's heart sank. She'd thought they were building momentum, but now it felt as if they were standing at the edge of a precipice. What can I do? He smiled gently. You already have done so much. You inspire others. I believe your connection to the kids, especially to Maria, can help bridge this gap. If we share how powerful their voices can be, maybe we can find common ground with those who oppose us. In that moment, Sofia felt a surge of determination. Maria and the other kids deserved their chance to shine, and she wouldn't let anyone take that away from them. Okay, I'll do it. Let us gather everyone together. We can share stories, their voices can show what's at stake. As they mapped out the next steps, Sofia felt the weight of responsibility and hope intermingling within her. They scheduled a community meeting at the local park, inviting families, residents, and skeptics to hear the children's stories firsthand. Days sped by, and the anticipation built along with the tension. Sofia often found Maria in her thoughts, picturing her tiny hands gripping a microphone, pouring her heart out to a crowd. She prayed that Maria's story would touch lives and perhaps change minds. The day of the meeting arrived, and the park buzzed with excitement. Kids filled the space, their laughter a sharp contrast to the heaviness Sofia felt in her chest. As families gathered, murmurs rippled through the crowd, and anxiety threatened to claw at her resolve. Maria stood with her peers on the makeshift stage, looking both nervous and determined. Sofia could see the flicker of fear behind her bright eyes. She approached Maria and crouched down, looking her in the eye. You've got this. Remember why we started this. With a nod, Maria straightened her spine. For a moment, the world around them faded away. Sofia shared a few words about the importance of voices being heard, and then, with a nod from Mr. Thompson, the first child took the stage. One by one, they shared stories filled with imagination, dreams, and the struggles they faced in daily life. As their voices rang out, Sofia felt the weight of the crowd's focused attention shift. They laughed, they cried, they listened. When Maria stepped up, she grasped the mic like it was a lifeline. Her voice wavered initially but then gained strength. I want to be a writer because my stories matter. The crowd was silent, hanging on her every word. Sofia's heart soared as she watched Maria transform into a powerful storyteller, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 untold tales. But just as the applause began to swell, the tension thickened again. A group of dissenters stood at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, faces tight with skepticism. Sofia felt her heart race. She stood on the sidelines, watching the hopeful faces of kids like Maria as they turned to her, eyes wide with uncertainty. Could this night inspire change? As the applause faded, one of the skeptics stepped forward. What makes you think any of this matters? He challenged, the crowd bristling at his audacity. Sofia's heart raced as she prepared to respond. This moment was crucial, not just for her but for all the children who believed their voices could spark change, but deep down, she wondered would they be able to overcome the doubts, or would fear and skepticism snuff out the light they had just ignited. This was it. Would she be able to answer the challenge and keep the dream alive? Sofia took a deep breath, steadying herself. What matters is that these kids have dreams and stories worth telling. She spoke louder than she expected, her voice echoing through the park. The crowd shifted, whispering, some nodding, but others remained skeptical. Look around you, she continued, her heart pounding. These are bright, passionate kids who face challenges every day. Their stories reflect our community, the struggles, the hopes, and the triumphs we all share. This workshop is about more than just storytelling, it's about giving them a chance to be heard. As she spoke, the air filled with a mix of tension and curiosity. Some people in the crowd began to glance at each other, processes unfolding in their minds. Sofia could feel Mr. Thompson's reassuring presence behind her, silently urging her on. Let me tell you about Maria, Sofia said, pointing toward the young girl still clutching the microphone. She dreams of being a writer, and she believes her words can change the world. Isn't that what we want for all our children? Empowerment. Understanding. Community. The man who had spoken up, eyes narrowing, crossed his arms tighter. But who are we to think these children can make a difference? They're just kids. Sofia fought to keep her composure. She took a step closer to him, her heart racing. They might be kids, but they're not powerless. If we stifle their voices, we lose a vital part of who we are. Art, stories, expression, they remind us of our humanity and our connection to one another. Isn't that worth nurturing? Murmurs of agreement rippled through some parts of the crowd, but others still stood firm in their skepticism. She could see the lines of doubt etched on their faces, and the knot in her stomach tightened. But the children looked at her with a mix of hope and fear, and that was enough to fuel her resolve. Let us not turn away from this opportunity, Sofia implored, feeling the swell of emotion overcome her. What if we listen to their stories? What if we let them challenge our perspectives? The world is changing, and these voices will shape the future. Shouldn't we embrace that instead of pushing it away? A soft gasp echoed from the audience, an unexpected wave of emotion started to pull at the edges of her heart. She glanced at Maria, who was watching with those hopeful, bright eyes. For a fleeting moment, Sofia felt as if she were standing at the brink of something monumental, but then the skeptic shrugged, shaking his head. It still seems silly. Sofia's heart sank again, and she turned back to the crowd. Is it silly to want a better future? Is it silly to hope for connection? To want our children to be seen? And just like that, Sofia remembered why they were all there. She stepped back, allowing the children to speak again, wondering if the collective power of their stories would weave a path through the doubt. As Maria stepped back to the mic, Sofia held her breath, praying the moment would sway those standing with crossed arms. With a final glance, she hoped for the courage to shift hearts, knowing that sometimes, it only takes a flicker of light to spark a flame. Maria took a breath, her tiny hands trembling, then began her story anew, filled with the weight of her dreams. The crowd leaned in, but the skeptic remained at the forefront, arms still crossed, doubt still shadowing his face. Could one child's story truly change minds? Would they let hope flourish in the face of fear? A hush fell over the crowd as Maria shared her heart, leaving everyone waiting for the unexpected as they hung on to each word she spoke. Would this be the moment when they finally believe? Maria's voice wavered at first, but with each word, her confidence built. Sofia squeezed her eyes shut, focusing on the delicate sincerity spilling from the child's heart. I might be small, but my dreams are big, Maria began, letting the words tumble forth in a rush. I want to tell the world about my life, about my family, and about the things we've faced together. Sometimes, it hurts to speak up, but I know there's strength in my voice. Sofia opened her eyes, scanning the crowd. Heads leaned forward, expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. The man in front crossed his arms tighter but seemed less rigid now, his brows slightly unfurrowing. With each sentence, Maria painted the struggles of her community, the missing fathers, the long nights of studying, the laughter shared over simple meals. As she spoke of her dreams, the park felt smaller, as if their world had become the vibrant canvas of her story. When I write, I feel free, she continued, her eyes shining with purpose. I see the way words can change hearts. And if you give me a chance, I can show you what I mean. Sofia felt the swell of pride in her chest. Watching Maria, she realized it wasn't just the words that mattered but the courage it took to share them. The children behind Maria were nodding, their expressions shifting between hope and admiration. They were all living this dream alongside her, their eyes sparkling with the echo of possibility. Slowly, a woman in the front row, who had been whispering disapproving remarks, looked away from Maria, her expression softening. Sofia couldn't help but smile. Maybe this was the moment. She recalled her own childhood, how expressing herself had been both a source of liberation and anxiety, but she felt like she didn't have to hide anymore. I believe, Maria hesitated a moment, then continued with gusto, together, can be loud enough that even those who don't want to listen will hear us. A ripple of applause broke out, unexpected yet warm, spurning the crowd into life. Sofia's heart soared, the tension in the air softened. Even the man with his arms crossed, while still uncertain, was beginning to gesture slightly, barely allowing a flicker of recognition to appear in his eyes. As Maria finished her story, the crowd erupted into enthusiastic applause, a stark contrast to the previous doubt that hung in the air. It was infectious. More kids stepped forward, emboldened, eager to share their own stories. Sofia could see the doubt lifting, replaced by smiles and nods of understanding. But then, as someone else took the mic, Sofia felt a tug at her heart again. The skeptic stood still, his face revealing an internal struggle. She could almost hear his thoughts wrestling in the silence. Could one moment disrupt a lifetime of doubt? The new speaker shared a story filled with sorrow and hope, which only added to the electric atmosphere. Everyone was mesmerized, and the park was alive with compassion and empathy. Then, just as Sofia felt a glimmer of triumph, a voice cut through the applause. It was the skeptic, his words laced with hesitation. But how can we really trust this? What if it's just a passion project for them? Sofia's breath caught. The victory felt fragile, hanging on the edge of uncertainty again. Would they go back to their doubts? Or could she help them see the truth in these young voices? She looked at Maria, who was still glowing with pride, and then back to the crowd. Moments like this were rare. Could they evolve past their skepticism and truly listen? With a newfound determination, Sofia stepped forward, ready to face the challenge. It was time to speak from the heart once more, not just for herself, but for every child ready to take that leap into their own stories. As anticipation filled the air, Sofia wondered, would the crowd embrace these stories, or would fear take another bite? Sofia could feel the weight of the crowd's gaze upon her, the silence stretching like a tightrope above an abyss of doubt. She took a deep breath, steadying her heart, reminding herself that every story shared was a thread in a tapestry of connection. I understand your concern, she began softly, her voice carrying warmth. But let me share something with you. She glanced back at Maria, the girl who had just opened their eyes. Sofia had seen how the young girl's spirit lit up the moment she found the courage to speak. You see, these stories are not just words. They are experiences, emotions, and lives lived in the face of adversity. When we share our stories, we light a spark, one that can ignite understanding where there was once doubt. The crowd shifted, the man in front still uncertain but now visibly leaning forward, the tension in his arms slightly loosening. Sofia's heart raced, she could almost hear the hesitant whispers of the audience slowly transforming into a delicate hum of curiosity. Every one of us carries a story. Some might be easy to share, others deeply personal and hidden. But think about what it means to us, how it shapes who we are. Maria, for example, has experienced a world we might not know. What if these voices are the key to understanding a different part of the human experience? She paused, allowing her words to settle. A little girl in the front row looked up at her, eyes wide. Is it true that if we share, we won't be alone anymore? She asked, innocence woven into her voice. Sofia smiled, feeling the warmth of the moment. Yes. Together, we become stronger. We create a community where everyone feels valued and supported. And that's what today is about. She gestured to Maria, who stood proud, waiting her turn again. It's about elevating these voices, turning fear into courage and doubt into hope. The crowd murmured, a ripple of emotion flowing through them. Children began to nod, eyes brightening as they processed her words. Sofia could feel the atmosphere changing, the heaviness lifting slightly, almost like a fog slowly dissipating in the morning light. But what about the ones who may not believe? A voice rang out, skeptical yet sincere. It belonged to the same skeptic who had questioned Maria. He stood tall, arms now resting at his sides. What do we do for them? Sofia's heart ached with the weight of his question. We invite them in. We don't just share our stories for ourselves but for everyone, those who are unsure, those who have been hurt. We show them that every voice matters, including theirs. The man's brow furrowed as if contemplating this new perspective. And if they still choose not to listen? If all this is just wasted breath? Sofia took a step forward, her chest swelling with conviction. We plant the seeds of understanding, hoping for a new growth. Change takes time. But if we can touch just one heart today, then it's worth every word spoken. As she finished, applause erupted again, louder this time. It felt like a wave of acceptance washing over them. Even the skeptic seemed moved. He shifted slightly, contemplation replacing doubt in his eyes. Then Maria grabbed the microphone again, the joy now shining on her face. I want to tell my story whether they listen or not. She declared, her voice commanding. It's mine, and it matters. Sofia's heart swelled with pride. Maria's strength had flourished in front of them all, breathing life into the moment. But just then, a soft cry of panic echoed from behind the stage. A boy stumbled out, his voice cracking as he yelled, "They're coming. We have to hide." Sofia turned, eyes wide in alarm. What was happening? The atmosphere shifted again, fear creeping back in. Would they lose all the progress they had made? Sofia felt her pulse quicken. She had to act fast. Would they stand together as a community, or would panic tear them apart? The crowd erupted into chaos at the boy's warning. Gasps filled the air, faces morphed from curiosity to concern, and whispers grew louder. Sofia felt adrenaline coursing through her veins. She raised her hands, her voice rising above the commotion. Everyone, please. Calm down. Let us listen. People hesitated, cautiously pausing to see what she would say. Maria's eyes darted around, uncertainty clouding her joy. Sofia reached out, locking eyes with her. I need you to stay strong for me. We can do this together. Sofia turned back to the crowd. Let us not let fear divide us. We've just taken a big step towards sharing our hearts. We can't let this moment be undone. But her words hung heavy, and tension hung thick in the air. The boy who had run in, with tears glistening on his cheeks, stepped closer. They're outside the gate. They're looking for us. Who? Sofia pressed, her heartbeat loud in her ears. Shouting erupted again, panic spreading like wildfire. Refugee patrol. They want to take us back. His voice cracked, clutching his arms around himself as if trying to hold the fear at bay. Sofia felt a deep pit forming inside her, an ache that spoke of not just her own terror but of the collective dread weighing on everyone present. Look, she began, taking a slow breath. We're all in this together. We have each other, and we won't let anyone take that away. She scanned the crowd, seeing the faces of families, of children scared and worried. We'll find a way to protect one another. We've started sharing our stories. Now, we must share our courage too. The skeptic, still lingering at the front, stepped forward, his earlier doubts replaced with resolve. What do we do? How do we stand against this? Sofia could feel the eyes on her, the weight of expectation enriching her purpose. We can create a safe space. We can be loud together. Let us share our stories and remind ourselves of our strength. If we stand united, they won't break our community. Let your voices rise. A ripple of agreement washed through the crowd. Murmurs turned to affirmations, hands clenching fists in solidarity. Maria stepped up beside Sofia. I want to share my story. I want to tell them who I am. I won't hide anymore. Her boldness inspired others. One by one, people began to share snippets of their lives, their laughter, and their pain. Each story was a declaration, a refusal to be silenced. Then the boy who had been afraid spoke up again. But what if they don't listen? What if they just want to take us? Sofia felt that question resonate deep within her. What if fear drowned out their voices? But here, amid a sea of resolve, something shifted in her heart. Even if it's hard, our stories are powerful. It is the love and connection we share that can make them listen. Just as she spoke, a thunderous sound echoed from outside, boots heavy against the ground, angry shouts filled the air. Anxiety rippled through the crowd, palpable and raw. Everyone, we need to form a line. Stand together. Sofia commanded, her voice unwavering even as her heart raced. She moved instinctively to organize them, ensuring the youngest and most vulnerable were shielded at the front. Around her, they gathered, shoulders brushing, a living wall of hope and defiance. Sofia glanced at Maria, who stood strong, heart pounding but face unwavering. The girl could shine brightly even in darkness. Just as they prepared themselves, the door burst open, the sunlight glaring in, revealing the figures of authority, stern and demanding. You're all in violation. They shouted, their voices chilling. Sofia's breath caught in her throat. This was the moment. Would her bravery be enough? The crowd held their ground, but she could feel their fear mixing with determination. Would fear overpower them, or could they find their strength in unity? Together. Sofia yelled, the word hanging in the air like a mantra. We are not alone. But as the officers pushed further, Sofia feared what might come next. Could they lift their voices and truly be heard? Would their stories protect them, or would they be silenced forever? With chaos swirling around them, Sofia felt the weight of the moment pressing down. Her heart raced, feeling like a drum in her chest as the officers advanced. She gathered her strength, drawing courage from the children beside her, especially from Maria, who stood steadfast with an unwavering look in her eyes. Listen. Sofia shouted, her voice rising above the noise. We are here to share our stories. We have dreams that matter. You can't take our voices. A hush fell over the gathering. The tension in the air thickened, and Sofia seized the chance. These children, she exclaimed, pointing to the bright faces before her, they are not just numbers or statistics. They are full of dreams and light. They want to share how they've overcome so much. That's the heart of our community. We are a part of each other. You can't break that. Sweat trickled down her brow, but she pressed on, feeling the energy of her words pull the crowd together. The officers hesitated, exchanging glances. There was uncertainty in their eyes, and Sofia could sense the change. The crowd behind her began to echo her sentiments, voices intertwining, creating a chorus of resilience. We won't be quiet. Our stories matter. Some children stepped forward, sharing their experiences, recounting the journeys they had traveled to find safety, to dream of brighter futures. With each story, fear lessened its grip on the crowd, allowing empowerment to seep in like warm sunlight. She glanced back at Maria. The girl held the microphone with determination, her little frame trembling with enthusiasm. I want to show that we are brave. We want to belong. I wrote stories about my family, and they are happy to hear. Her words rang with the innocence and fervor of youth, deeply affecting those listening. The officers shifted uncomfortably. One of them glanced over, clearly taken aback. Sofia felt a spark ignite within her, a hope that her plea could break through their stubborn resolve. The tide was turning, and she needed to push further. "This isn't just about us," she declared, her voice breaking slightly with emotion. "It's about community, understanding, love. Our stories are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They challenge the very notion of what power really means." The larger crowd began to rally, their voices rising in unified agreement. Neighbors who had once hidden their hurt transformed into a family, a living tapestry woven together by shared pain and dreams of hope. "Do you hear us?" Sofia implored the officers, locking eyes with them. "This isn't a confrontation, it's a call for compassion. We want to share our lives, our stories with you. We want you to listen and understand." A heavy silence fell over the crowd once again as the officers exchanged uncertain glances. Perhaps they were starting to perceive the depth of this gathering. Around Sofia, hands intertwined, children's eyes flickered with a sense of shared strength and daring hope. "Please." A mother called out, her voice trembling but unwavering. "We just want to live and thrive. We need your understanding, not your fear." Sofia felt the ground beneath her solidify. In this moment, amidst all the chaos, they were stronger together. She looked around at the faces lighting up with hope, empowerment radiating in waves. It wasn't just her flying solo against the storm anymore. This was a community standing fast, a powerful force. With resolute faces, the officers took a step back. One of them raised a hand, signaling for calm. We are here to ensure safety," he said slowly. "Your voices matter. We'll listen to what you have to say." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Sofia couldn't believe it, the shift was real. "Together!" she shouted, her heart pounding with triumph. They had started to bridge that gap. As the officers relaxed, Sofia looked into Maria's eyes and saw a fiery spirit awakened. "This is just the beginning," she whispered, knowing the fight for every voice was never truly complete. Soon, Sofia found herself holding hands with other children, their laughter mingling with the energy in the air. The crowd surged around her, sharing stories of hardship, resilience, and determination. As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, Sofia knew the journey was far from over, but with every word spoken, they were transforming their community, a place where bravery blossomed in the face of turmoil. The light of hope flickered with each shared tale, solidifying bonds, forging a future where every voice would resonate with strength. In that moment, she understood, change often starts with one voice embraced by a chorus of countless others. It was a breathtaking realization, and as the evening carried on, Sofia's heart brimmed with the promise of what was yet to come. Together, they would continue to rise, undeterred, refusing to be silenced any longer. Now, as a powerful movement began that night in Maplewood, Sofia was ready to embrace the challenges that lay ahead, knowing she had the unwavering support of her community. They had become a family, and together, their stories would light up the world. Now, we want you to join us in this transformative journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these inspiring tales alive. Comment with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. We want to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. We are all in this together. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our community through these powerful actions.